Jimmy, Bluff, what is that noise?
They are adhesions that we're releasing in between the muscle fibers and the connective tissue of Titans, low back, QL, and hips. So after, like 30 hours of traveling in a week between here to Dubai and back, standing for 10, 15 hours a day, traveling through the airport, everyone can understand how insane that is. And then put yourself through a car accident every day before you fly by training 500-pound shoulder presses, 500-pound squats, deads. So what we're doing is trying to restore Mike's fascia to where before he left. So we're kind of recalibrating, resetting everything.
I mean, all he did was sit on an airplane.
That's true.
Tell me about that.
Well,
how bad is that?
One thing I swear I fix all day long for people. The minute we sit, our hamstrings get tight, right? Now Mike puts himself through basically a car accident every morning. So
what does that mean?
Meaning he trains with such intensity and he's at such a level of intensity. If someone like I was to just hop in one of his workouts, I wouldn't be able to walk for like 2 weeks, right? But this is just his norm. So when the tissue tightens, when the hip flexor sometimes even gets into the inner abdominal psoas, this week in the office I've had a couple people's ribs that were attached to their hips.
Wow.
So they couldn't even squat parallel to the mirror if they wanted to because they're seated. So you take a guy, 250 pounds of muscle, and force him into an uncomfortable seat, right? After he's put himself through multiple intense car accidents, you know what I'm saying? Dehydration, everything, walking through the airport, stress. Most people watching these videos are probably 100 pounds lighter than Mike, you know what I mean? So those movement patterns and those holding patterns just takes a wear on the body.
Yeah, and they may not be on the plane every day, but they might be at a desk every day.
Desk jockeys.
At the office, right? 12 hours here.
I tell my clients, I only work at a desk. I'm like, you're still an athlete. There's still holding patterns. I look at, are their arms internally rotated? Are their ribs forward? Are their shoulders protracted? Because they're all holding patterns, right? So that fascial tissue we've talked about before is 2,000 pounds of tensile strength per square inch with the consistency of steel wool. So little by little, as your body kind of gets out of alignment, it can start taxing other areas. Mike's symmetry is so dialed in. That's why we want to continue to keep him feeling every direction he moves just amazing so that he can continue to grow, train, recover effortlessly at the level he's at, which is kind of unheard of.
And he doesn't just do this when he feels like it, right? Like once a month or once every 6 months. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that do treat, their body work like that. But this for Mike is
his career.
Yeah.
Right? So this is his lifestyle 24 hours a day. So in order for him to stay ahead, right, it's just necessary, just minor tune-ups and upkeep. And the nice thing is, as we've continued to be consistent together, I have such a hands-on view of his body and he can understand what I'm feeling that it's been even easier to continue working together because a lot of this stuff that's been very, very dense that we've continued to keep super healthy, we get further and further every time.
Yeah, I feel like I was just going to ask you that because when you started working with Mike, I feel like it was a lot more intense on you. Like I could see your body language and the way you were sweating. Yeah. And I feel like it was just you're working harder. So as you go through the weeks, right? Because you guys been working every week. Does that get a little easier for you?
It does.
Stuff breaks up and it gives you more access to get in there.
Yes,
right?
I can get deeper than I could before, and it's interesting. Like I said, like in other videos, you open up an area and you're like, whoa! All of a sudden you feel all the tissue underneath it. Now we're at a deeper layer,
right?
Consistently.
Yeah, so that means consistency to everything. So it's not only nutrition and training, consistency on recovery, and this is recovery right here.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't look at it that way, but recovery, it's as important as everything else, because if you don't do the proper recovery, then you won't be able to train at the level that you should be training. That's how I look at it. So do I recover well? No, never, because I don't get enough sleep.
Right.
So hydration, sleep, which is should be like almost number one there, you know, for the body to recover, and then everything else, massages. Listen, do yoga once a week for stretching, whatever. If you have the time to get involved and have access to something like this, you gotta be stupid not to do it. That's what I say.
Why wouldn't you?
You know?
Optimal,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
all about not only injury prevention,
Right.
but continuing to feel really excited when you go in the gym to where everything is activated and you feel all your fibers in your chest, not a piece of, you know, your front delt, not your trap, not your rear delt, just because that, oh, what was that? Oh, I was walking through the airport, I leaned, I felt something.
Right.
Minor things, you know?
It takes a town, guys. Like with everything. When you do an appearance, it's literally so much prep. So it's not just like you're rolling out of bed and you just show up. It's prep. You know, you gotta get spray tan, for example. You know, you do photo shoots, you do workout videos. And when you get back, what happens? You gotta do a scrub to get that shit off. So it's constantly work. It's constantly putting in the work. It's not as easy as everybody thinks that it is, you know?
Well, and it's interesting continuing to work together because like I said before, I've had so much respect and I've always been inspired by you two. But when you take a step in your personal lives and you're like, oh my God, every single thing is calculated, it's timed, it's measured, your entire schedule. So then you take that in consideration with your guys' training and you're like, wow, that's what's required to train at the highest level. There's no one doing what Mike can do. And I think people are starting to understand why.
Right.
Right? It's the intelligence, it's everything that he's programmed.
Yeah, for me, I have to say this, and I'm going to leave you right here. It is a blessing to be around you guys, you and Maria, because the energy that you guys bring every time you come here, it's insane. It's such a great energy, and it just,
Thank you.
You know, it's just good. So I would just pay for that alone.
Thank you.
I'm out.
And honestly, it's mutual. We love coming here and seeing you guys because when you're around high vibration people, it's just always great energy.
Jimmy, if they want some of that energy, where can they get it?
What's up? You want some of this energy? JimmyBluff.com. You can shoot me an email. You can get online and book your treatment in Santa Monica. On Instagram, check me out, Jimmy_Bluff.
Before we leave, I know Jeffrey, who started down this road, this is something that's done after you're injured, or when you feel a tweak, or could it be done differently?
Preferably before.
Why would that be?
Everyone typically has some sort of movement pattern or holding pattern. So to me, knowing that you're going to go in the gym, activate everything, have everything feel really good, compared to getting into a squat, something feels weird with my back, my hip. Why would you not want to feel good immediately?
What's a holding pattern?
For instance, if you side sleep, right? Holding pattern would be if I'm side sleeping without a pillow between my knees, one of my knees is inward, right? I'm cranked over to the left, my arm's internally rotated, and this arm is over here. So you guys with issues with your impingements, with protracted shoulders, you guys that are standing here like this, that should be here being able to activate all these muscles, that's a holding pattern. Internal rotation, elevated trap, all of a sudden I have to peel people's jaws, their sternocleidomastoid, their trapezius. We had a thing with Mike's trap today from walking around the airport that wasn't here, just a small adhesion, and I was like, whoa, what's this? We released it, pressure gone.
Did we know that anything was wrong there first?
Not at all, not at all.
I think that's what I want them to really take away is that, yes, I was on a plane. Yeah, my back was very stiff, my hamstrings. But there was things I didn't even realize that were already tight. The neck, and maybe they're in that same situation. I feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
I would just make sure to stay preventative, stay
Yeah.
ahead of it.
Well, it's amazing because again, we're working with, you know, with you. Everything is so calculated, the way you recover your entire life. I've got a lot of people that just have no idea why their knees hurt and why they can't activate their hamstrings. And I find once I get into their tissue, their hamstrings are all stuck together. They can't isolate them. Their hamstrings are stuck up into their glutes, so they can't isolate their glutes, their hamstrings. And sometimes this lower back gets stuck into the QL. And a lot of times people's latissimus actually fuses to the hip. So if you're deadlifting and you're not feeling the contraction where you want to, it's probably because there's some fascial tissue or some connective tissue that just has to be realigned. If you guys are 30 years old or 40 years old, imagine if you had a 40-year-old car that you never did any maintenance on,
great
the alignment
analogy.
or the ball bearings, right? What are those tires, the tread pattern going to look like? So a lot of people see my before and after pictures and like, whoa, you look totally different, because your body is actually open. The muscle can get a lot more blood flow, pump, recovery. Isn't that why we go to the gym most of the time anyway?
What's interesting is like you can replace the 40-year-old car's tires. There's a lot of connective tissue that you can't replace on the body, so why not take care of it prior to it?
Absolutely. And I love handing people their power back, you know, meaning a man in his 30s or 40s that's in pain, that goes to the gym because that's his therapy and that's his passion, who all of a sudden has that taken away from him. Half my clients throughout the week I'm helping battle through depression on top of fixing their body just so they can get themselves back in the gym and back in a healthy mind-muscle connection, you know? So
We got to jump into that on a future YouTube.
absolutely.
Because I don't think people realize pain causes that anger.
Mm-hmm.
And then there you start going down that rabbit hole.
It's tough, and I'm very empathic, so when people message me, I can feel their emotions. I had a gentleman call me yesterday and basically demand that he get in my schedule book, and I have to limit my hours or I hurt myself because I use fingertips. And he was very upset, and I could tell he was in pain, and I'm like, listen, let's get you on the books, and if I get a cancellation, I'll get you in as quickly as I can. And I could understand why this man was so upset, right? Because his body hurt and it was affecting every aspect of his life. Or, man, I can't wait to get to the gym. Oh my God, my arms feel amazing. It's like our own personal church. It's our spirituality, right? We're a spirit and a body. So we want that body feeling good so we can have a healthy spirit.